Hi, I'm Ray Davis. I'm the Family Life Minister at the North Oaks Church of Christ in Santa Clarita, California. We celebrate Father's Day on June 20th, but we do more than that. We celebrate the first time in over 15 months that we can get pretty much back to normal. I just want to take you through and show you what we have. I will remind you that our morning worship is still at 10 a.m. And for now, we're not having children's worship, nor are we having any Bible classes. We're just focusing on the assembly until our numbers build up and folks feel a little more secure. First, I want to thank our work crew. We had 15 people show up on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. and transform our assembly area from rows 6 feet apart to what it was back to normal before COVID. So I thank all of these hard-working people. We pulled up the 6-foot markers in the building and out on the sidewalk, and the one-way entrance and one-way exit signs off, so things look back to normal. So again, just to remind you, this is what normal looks like. If you have not been at the North Oaks facility since March of 2020, this probably doesn't look much different. But for those of us who have been in this auditorium from March 2020 up until June the 13th, this is a big change. Just the front of the auditorium, you can see we've got those chairs back in place. The seating in our expansion area is back to normal as well. And if you've been to the North Oaks Assembly, you'll know in the back, since Easter, we had a bunch of chairs piled in the back since we had the rows 6 foot apart. But guess what? In the rear of the building, we are back to normal. This gives you a pretty good view of the two main sections in the assembly area of how our spacing is. I think there's about 33 inches between rows. And so we still have space. I think we have now about 172, 3 or 4 seats in there, maybe a few seats more than what we had pre-COVID. How back to normal are we going to be? Well, take a look at this. For those of you who've been here from Easter up until June 13th, you know we had the water fountain bagged up and covered so nobody could use it. But now that our restrictions have been lifted, presto, now you can get a cold drink of water. Of course, if you want to get a different type, you can always go into the kitchen, the MPR, milk and honey room, and get some cold water out of the refrigerator. How close to normal are we going to be? Well, guess what? Starting this Sunday, June 20th at from 9:30 to 9:55, we're going to have coffee and donuts. We're also going to be using our communion and bread plates. Our communion trays won't be this close. The cups will be spaced out. And if you want to use those that have been sealed, those types of communion kits that we've used for the last 15 months, they will still be available. We replace the communion box with our own genuine communion trays. And our restrictions are lifted for anyone who's had the vaccination. You don't have to wear a mask outside or inside. And if you've listened to the news, you know that the state and LA County has suggested that those of you who have not received your vaccination shots, that you wear the mask. But guess what? We're not going to ask you as you enter our facility, did you get a vaccination? We'll just leave it up to you. as to whether you want a mask and what precautions you need to take. Now, I know some of you who've been watching online say, hey, let's get the camera on people. Well, that's going to take us a little while. I've got a picture here of our camera. It's right in front of the ceiling fan, and notice it's way above the floor and it's stationary. I don't know if we could get it to turn down and look on the audience, but those of us who have balding heads probably wouldn't appreciate it. So it's going to be a while before we can show the audience on your online service. I'll just ask people, be aware that sooner or later you might be online as we kind of show the audience every once in a while during Jonathan's sermon. So I hope you'll attend the in-person assembly at the North Oaks Church of Christ in Santa Clarita, California. We're ready to pretty much get back to normal. Probably have the singers on stage live in the month of July. Likely to start children's worship on August the 1st. And maybe in September we'll ease ourselves into some Sunday Bible classes. We're just using the freedom we have and taking it one step at a time. Again, if you're a little nervous about all this, I'll just remind you that we spent a few $1,000s putting a new filtration system that just, the word they use is scrubs the air. So it scrubs the air in the auditorium, it scrubs the air in every room where air conditioning and heat air blows into. And so you can feel very safe. Of course, we're not going to throw rocks at you if you want to stay home. Again, it's your health. But I tell you what, there's nothing like seeing your brothers and sisters in person. Well, I hope to see you soon, and God bless.